Since my last video of creating a scale model of the old New Winchester school building, I've had several people ask me some questions like, what software are you using to model this, and how do you attach the pieces together to create the walls? So since I have started working on what I'm going to call phase 2 of the school building model, I thought I would show in this video some things I'm doing to create this 1:48 scale model, or O scale for you railroad modelers. As I mentioned before, I'm creating this model using only old photos from school yearbooks since the building was torn down nearly 60 years ago. Today I'm going to be working on the gymnasium entrance shown here. I ran the front wall with the doors yesterday, so let's take a look at the two side walls and I'll try to explain how I'm creating these. For simple 2D sketches, I like to use VCarve Pro as my sketch pad. Here is a wall that will be on the left side of the gymnasium entrance. If I turn off the brick pattern, you can see that it's just a simple sketch of the wall. I put the brick pattern on a different layer and in a different color, and I'll explain why in a few minutes. Once I have my 2D sketches done, I save them as a DXF file and open them in my DesignSpark mechanical software. Here you can see I brought the wall in by itself and I have given it some thickness here. The other file I save separately and it is just the bricks. And then I create a kind of an assembly of these two together, make the bricks to the wall. And the reason I do that separately is because I found after a lot of trial and error that when I try to bring all this in at once, when you're trying to extrude to put a thickness on these bricks, there are so many of them. This is even a small wall, but even on some of the bigger walls, that it really bogs down the computer. It will eventually do it, but you know it will take a long time. So I found that by putting them separately, putting the brick like this, and then when I extrude it, it may go into where you're just staring at the hourglass, waiting for it to finish. And sometimes I'll even get up and go do something else for a minute and then come back. But it was just trying to bog the computer down too much, and sometimes would get to where it wasn't responding and I would have to stop and start over. So I just started doing it separately. So let's go back and I'll take a look at a different wall and we'll go through it kind of step by step to see, so I can show you what I'm talking about. I think over here I've got the other wall that would be on the right side of the gymnasium entrance, and it has a small window on it. So it's basically the same wall. I just added this window here. And again, you can see I've got the brick on one layer and the wall on the other. And the reason I do that, and I'm going to show you right now, is I'm going to take just that way I can turn the bricks off and I can just highlight this. And I can come down here and export this to a DXF. Let me make sure I'm in the right directory. I think that's where I want it. So I'm going to call this, we're going to call this gym entrance right wall. So we'll save that. Then I can come back and I'll turn on the bricks and turn that one off. That way I can highlight just the bricks, and I will come and I'll export that to a DXF, and we'll call this one gym entrance right bricks. Okay, now we'll come back to the DesignSpark Mechanical, and I'll go through the process to show you how I create the little sub-assembly of the wall with the brick pattern. So I create a new file. I'll hit the file to import this. I change this to DXF. And then I'm looking for the gym entrance right wall, which is right here. So that brings that sketch in. I want to highlight this sketch, tell it to fill. Now I can get rid of this outside part here. And I also want to get rid of this because that's going to be my window opening. And then what I do is I highlight this. This is where there's like some concrete trim that you might have saw in that first photo when I was doing the doors. That goes all the way around this. So I'm going to highlight those two by holding control and selecting both of those. And then I'm going to set full. And you can see the arrows coming out, which is what I want. So I'm going to set that for 1.625. And you can see now that's set that out. So now I'm going to come in and highlight the other two areas. And I'm going to hit pull. And I'm going to hit that at 3. And in case anybody's wondering, I draw all these things in full scale. And I scale them down to the 1:48 or O scale when I load them into my bamboo slicer. And I'll show that here in a little bit too. Okay, so now we've got, let me change this color so that it's easier to see. Okay, so now we've got that recessed part where I'm going to have that little concrete strip there, and then the brick pattern all goes here. So I will now save this as gym entrance right wall, only now it's not going to be a DXF, it's going to be a Design Spark mechanical file. So I'll save that. Now I'll come back and do the same thing to get the bricks. Hit File New, and then I will bring in, again, make sure we're on DXF here. Come to Gymnasium Entrance Right Bricks. And you can see that this is going to get pretty busy because when it's trying to do all of these things here, it does take a minute. And you'll see the hourglass pop up. I'll probably speed this up during the video so you won't have to sit here and watch. But it does take a few minutes for this to take place here. Okay, once that finally finishes that, again, get rid of this right here. And now I want to highlight this whole thing again. And I want to pull to give this a thickness of 0.625 or 5/8 of an inch. And again, you'll see the hourglass pop up, and I'll probably speed the video up or just cut some of this out because this does take several minutes. If you look in the bottom left-hand corner here, you see it's trying to pull 1,400 and I think it says 86 faces. So it does work the computer a little bit, and that's why I usually just get up and walk away and then come back later and it'll be finished. Okay, that took several minutes, but through the magic of video editing, I'm going to cut that out and it'll only seem like a few seconds for y'all. All right, now that this has finished rendering and extruding all this brick pattern to 5/8 of an inch, I now want to save this as a Design Spark mechanical file. So we'll call this gym entrance wall bricks, and save that. And now I come and we'll make these an assembly to put them together. So I'm going to come here and add file. Now I can change this from DXF to Design Spark Mechanical Files. And I want to come to the gem entrance right wall, which would be here. And it may end off out in space somewhere because it depends on where I put the sketch in VCarve Pro is where it locates it, but we'll get it over here somewhere close. Okay, now that I've got that in, now let me bring in the other file with the brick pattern. It's going to be gymnasium brick or gymnasium entrance wall bricks. So we'll bring that in, and that's probably, yep, it's also out here in La La Land. So we'll bring this up. Get this to this side. Okay, now what I want to do is to move stuff around in Design Spark Mechanical, I'm going to take this and put it right there. I think that's, yeah, I'm going to put it on that back corner. And then I'm going to tell it to move up to this face and click on this face. Now I'm going to come up here and hit the same thing up to this face and bring it here. And then I will bring it, hit that once again, bring it up to the face and hit this outer face. And I think I need to check. Yeah, I think I need to move it down just a hair. We'll pull this down, hit the space bar. I think that's what I've been using for that. So now we have an assembly with the brick pattern and the wall combined here. So I will once again come over here and save this. And I think just to try to keep it the same as what I did the other one. Here's the left wall. I did gem entrance left wall complete. So we'll do gem entrance right wall complete and save that. Okay, now there's one more thing that I have to do before I'm ready to send this to the Bamboo Slicer to run it on the 3D printer. If you look right down here, if I zoom in, you can see that these bricks, like I said, I've made these 5/8 thick, and that's just enough that I can get when I put some spackling in here, I can get my mortar lines to show up. But what's going to be a problem is I'm going to run this on the printer bed just like it's shown here. But with these hanging over, they won't print right. So these need to be come all the way to the back of here. So what I have to do is turn this around like so, hit my pull command, and then select one of these bricks that's hanging off, hold the control key down so I can select several at a time. And then as I come down here, I don't really try to get them all, but I can stop and then hit 3 inches. And you can see that pulls those out so that those will be flush with the back. And now it'll be against the printer bed. So now it can run that okay. So let me get this finished up, the rest of these, and we'll come back when I'm ready to send it to the printer. Okay, now that I'm done with that, you can see you just want to double check and make sure you didn't miss one of those. But if you've got them all where the back of that is flush with the whole wall surface, it will now be able to print it without any problem. So now we're ready to create the STL file, and then by that I just come up here and hit export options and come down to 3D print STL. Highlight this, and I'm calling this gym entrance right wall complete. Hit save, and there's actually one where I did before, but I'll overwrite that one. And now I've created the STL file. So let's drop this down and go to Bambu Labs. We'll come over here and hit new project. Then we'll come and go get that STL file that we just made. We'll come down here to gym right wall complete. And that's the STL file right there. And notice when I go to bring it in, it pops up and says that it's too large. Well, yes, it's way too large. But it says, do you want to scale it down to fit the bed automatically? If you click yes, it scales it down, but it doesn't scale it down to the correct size. It doesn't know what size you wanted. It just scales it down so that it fits on the bed, and that's not what I want. I wanted a certain scale. So I'm going to click no, and then it looks like it's not there, but if I scroll out, you can see that it's huge because this is a full, I don't know what size this wall was, but it's full scale. And then here's the print bed. So what I want to do is hit the scale feature here in Bambu. And you can see when you scale this, you want to make sure you have the uniform scale checked so that you're scaling X, Y, and Z all at the same time. And what I'm going to do then is bring up my little calculator, and I'll put it over here so you can see it. And I'm going to just pick one of these numbers. I usually do the X. So it's 5680.08. And I need to divide that by 48 because that is the scale I'm trying to get. So you can see it's 118.335. So I'm going to go ahead and slide this out of the way here. So I come right here and put 118.335. And then when I hit enter, you'll see that this scale up here will say 2.08. And just at a glance, if I see 2.08 and all of those, I know that I have it correct, because if you take the number 1 and divide it by 48, you'll see that you get 0.0208 and then a bunch of 3s. So I know whenever that says 2.08, I know that I haven't messed up and done it correctly and I have the right scale that I'm looking for. So now that we've got that done, we can see here that it's going to lay flat on the bed, and it is ready to go. So let me slice it here. It says the slice is okay. It's going to take about 50 minutes, a little over 50 minutes. So we'll go ahead and get that print going. In my AMS, I have in slot number 3, I have the brick red filament. So that's what I'm going to use. So I'll go ahead and start this, and then I'll come back when the print's finished. Okay, so here's our 3 pieces to our gymnasium entrance. And you can see I think you can see that. You can see the brick pattern here. But what really makes this stand out is when I put this little spackling compound on there, and I'll do that real quick and then we'll check it out after I'm done. Here is a gymnasium entrance after the glue up, and you can see how rubbing the spackling over the walls and then wiping the excess off really brings out the mortar lines. The spackling goes on pink and then turns white as it dries, so you just need to take a damp shop rag or a sponge to rinse it off. I hope this video will answer the questions that I've been asked, but if you still have some questions, please leave them down below in the comments and I'll try to answer them in the next video. If you have enjoyed this video, please leave it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. I have a list of other buildings and structures from my past that I'd like to model in the future. And until the next one, thank you very much for watching.